Synopsis. The guys arrive at the studio and discover there's a party being thrown in their honor, but they're not invited. They comment on how unfair it is, and Gustavo concedes, saying they can stay, but don't go anywhere near his party box. Oh no, it was Trap! The boys tell Kendall's mom they're throwing a party, but they're already on their third strike, and one more strike means they're getting thrown out of the apartment. The boys, of course, decide to bend the rules a little bit, though.
There's nothing saying we can't have a get-together or a social gathering.
Oh, it's a good thing this show wasn't made in 2020. Kendall goes to the pool to invite Joe to his not party, and she agrees. But they're already almost discovered by Mr. Bitters. Carlos and James get everything ready, and while Kendall tries to tell them to calm down, they double down and say they're going to become party kings. The guests show up, and we get this really sweet line from Kendall.
Wow, VIP area. Am I on the list?
Actually, you're the only one.
There's a reason I took my dating advice from you. Camille shows up and flirts with Logan, but he's none the wiser, saying he's making pizza bagels. Ooh, pizza bagels. Who wants a pizza bagel? I like bagels. Who ate all my pizza bagels? Is that a who ate all my pizza bagels? I killed my brother for eating my pizza bagels. Logan flees to Kendall and Joe, and we see Joe is trying to play wing woman between the two soon-to-be lovebirds. Kendall comments on Camille being weird, but Joe just says, "No you," and watches Carlos and James make a fool of themselves. Joe convinces him to play along, and the final guest shows up, which of course is Guitar Dude since Lightning's in jail. Back at Gustavo's party though, Griffin is talking down to him, saying he'd rather play phone games than attend this party. Yeah, maybe you should have invited the dogs. Kendall and Joe reach a hiccup in their relationship, as she says she hates hockey. Logan starts talking with Camille, but then Mercedes shows up. Oh wow, I did not expect that plot thread to carry over. All of a sudden the get-together is swarmed by guests. Apparently Carlos accidentally sent the invite to all contacts, and now it's a party. They decided to split up to deal with each of the issues, with Kendall keeping an eye on Mr. Bitters with Joe, and James and Carlos in charge of asking people to leave. Logan goes to Carlos and James for help with Camille and Mercedes, but they tell him to just live in the moment and enjoy himself, leading to Logan trying to juggle his time between both girls at once, which just ends up with him being inconsiderate and kind of douchey, to be honest. Kendall and Joe start having trouble finding things they have in common, but luckily they're still able to redirect Bitters to the 4th floor. But it's no help if Carlos and James aren't going to get anyone out of the apartment. Gustavo and Kelly nearly give their company owner a heart attack, and it leads to this hilarious joke.
I can't believe you work for this guy. These aren't even real boys.
Kendall and Joe return to the room, and the party is gone. I guess they actually... Oh wow, this is much worse. Logan continues to juggle Camille and Mercedes, and to no one's surprise, they figured it out. Kendall and Joe decide to trick Mr. Bitters by luring him away from the actual party using music, and meanwhile, Gustavo's party is awful. So he calls Carlos, finds out about their party, and gets an idea. Kendall and Joe trick Mr. Bitters into going into the same trap that they fell for at the beginning of the episode. They finally get to enjoy their party, and even Gustavo is there to join in the fun. Mercedes starts dating Guitar Dude, and Logan apologizes to Camille. She says she forgives him, but is not talking to him for the rest of the week. But she is willing to dance with him. Kendall and Joe are able to find common ground, and James and Carlos are officially awarded Party Kings of Hollywood. Thoughts? This episode was pretty great, all things considered. This episode had a pretty consistent feel throughout it. There was never a moment where it felt like a chore to get through, although there were a few things I wasn't quite into. First of all, I'm not really a fan of Mercedes' character, and I was kind of hoping Big Time Demos would be the last appearance of her, and the way Logan juggled both her and Camille just kind of broke my heart, as until this point, the guys were always a good influence on Logan. But this is the first time they actively asked him to do something harmful. He does get what he deserves by the end though, so it saves it from a broken record. Kendall and Joe's relationship is adorable, and like I said, there's a reason I saw him as a role model as a kid. I literally wanted to be him when I grew up. The A and B plots came together quite nicely, but I almost feel it would have saved Kendall and Joe the trouble of trapping Mr. Bitters if they just let the party travel to Rock Records. But hey, hindsight's 2020, so platinum record. Trivia. Not really much trivia today, but to keep the format, I guess I'll just go over a few. This is both Mr. Fujisaki's and Mercedes' second and final appearance in the show. I'm more than happy that we'll never see her again, but a little sad for Mr. Fujisaki since he's kind of adorable. This is the second time James and Carlos are shown playing with their food, and finally, the Hollywood Super Party Kings of Hollywood reappear in the future episode, Big Time Welcome Back. While I did have to do some digging to find this trivia myself, I should credit my sources. I got most of this information from the Big Time Rush fan wiki, specifically the blog Big Time Party. If you want to fact check me, feel free to do so in the comments below, and if it's a big enough slip up on my part, I'll try and have your comment penned, assuming I haven't already done that to someone else. Alright, now that that's out of our system, I better head off to bed. I have to... Hello? Okay. Apparently my job just shut down for 2 weeks.
When the window blew out, I fell, cut myself. As the blood spilled, I was helpless, nearly killed. actions, they did curse me, and yet your lies still hurt me. One heart for hoping.